Hello everyone. So let's continue with the 5-minute revision tools, oral pathology and microbiology. And we are continuing with odontogenic tumors. Now, odontogenic tumor, as you know, the origin is from the odontogenic epithelium. Odontogenic tumors are classified into two headings, benign and malignant. And the benign is further subclassified based on what component is higher. Is it the epithelium or the mesenchyme? So whenever you have an odontogenic epithelium with no odontogenic ectomesenchyme, it has a different configuration. It has more of epithelial components, more follicles, more rosettes. When the ectomesenchyme comes, then there is an inductive effect. The induction is nothing but enamel and dentine formation. Hence, they may be seen with hard tissue or without hard tissue. Sometimes the reverse may also be true, where it is predominantly ectomesenchyme with or without epithelium. So when you look at the odontogenic epithelium without ectomesenchyme, the tumors under this category are ameloblastoma, squamous odontogenic tumor, calcifying epithelial odontogenic tumor, and adenomatoid odontogenic tumor. And among these, the least amount of connective tissue ectomesenchyme found is in adenomatoid odontogenic tumor. And this tumor receives its name because of its histological appearance. So as you see here, these are the ducts. So here you can see a striated duct of a salivary gland, and you can see the acini of the mucus acini of the salivary gland. The odontogenic epithelium proliferates in such a manner that it gives like duct-like appearances. Hence the name adenomatoid, which looks like a adenoma. So here is an aortic rosette, and you can see there is a duct-like appearance seen in the tumor proliferation. So we have established now that we have a benign odontogenic epithelial tumor, and this benign epithelial tumor is actually considered to be a hamartomatous growth. Now, what is a hamartoma? Hamartoma is a proliferation of an entity which is histologically native to that location. Say, for example, you have blood vessels. Blood vessels are there throughout the body. So wherever they proliferate, it is a hamartoma. But can a tooth be formed inside the stomach? Can a tooth be formed inside the ovary? When such a thing happens, the structure is normal, but in an abnormal location, it is called as choristoma. So now, adenomatoid odontogenic tumor always occurs in the jaw, that is the tooth-bearing region. Hence, adenomatoid odontogenic tumor never occurs inside the other parts of the body. Hence, they called it as hamartomatous growth. So let's quickly look at the origin of adenomatoid odontogenic tumor. Whenever there is a deciduous dentition, the deciduous dentition almost always allows a canal to be formed. So like you can see in this histological picture, there is always a canal being formed through which the permanent tooth can come out. This is the direction in which the permanent tooth can come out, and it's called as the Gubernacular Canal. And you can see that there is some remnant of the dental lamina present inside this Gubernacular Canal. They speculate that adenomatoid odontogenic tumor originates from this particular remnant of dental lamina. And hence, the element is called as Gubernaculum dentis, hence the name hamartomatous proliferation. So let's quickly jump into the characteristic features. It is known as the two-third tumor. Now, why is it called two-thirds tumor? Because 2 of the 3 cases occur in females, 2 of the 3 cases occur in the maxilla, and 2 of the 3 cases occur in the canine region, that is between the 2 and the 3 tooth region. So you can predominantly assume that females in the second decade will have a lesion in the canine region that will be most likely to be a adenomatoid odontogenic tumor. So if you look at the clinical features, as we suggested, it is a 2/3 tumor, 2/3 in female, 2/3 in maxilla, and 2/3 associated with the unerupted canine. Again, in the second and the third decade is the most common proliferation. It's usually a slowly growing painless swelling and often discovered because the tooth didn't erupt. The canine wouldn't have erupted and the person would have a delayed eruption of that particular tooth. By very mild facial asymmetry, and you will find a radiolucency around the canine. Now you will characteristically find out that the lesion is not surrounding the cemento-enamel junction. If it is surrounding the cemento-enamel junction, we will be looking at a dentigerous cyst, whereas the lesion seems to be appearing and proliferating all around the tooth. And radiographically, you may find some calcifications, snowflake-like calcifications, some tooth displacement may be noted. Now let's quickly jump into the histopathology. So it's a cellular tumor and it is rich in cells. You can see that the connective tissue is very less and it has varied patterns that can be noted. So let's look at the histology one by one. So if you look at the histology, you'll see a solid tumor, maybe a thin fibrous septae separating these nodules will be there. And these nodules may be interspersed with small duct-like structures. These duct-like structures can be interspersed with spindle-shaped cells. So as you can see here, they can be having some spindle-shaped cells, and ducts are also seen in this particular region, and in between that there will be eosinophilic material. Now what are these eosinophilic material? They call it as enamel-like. So they are enameloids. Now enameloids or enamel droplets. These enamel droplets are able to incompletely form enamel. That is the whole idea behind the element. Now this is a duct. Now how do we draw this duct? The duct is usually drawn as a basement membrane in the inside, and there are tall columnar cells on the outside. And the nucleus of each of these cells are away from the basement membrane, which you can make out here. So you can see the basement membrane here, and each of these cells are going outward. And when they are going outward, you can see the nucleus is actually away from the basement membrane. And these are all a product of pre-ameloblasts. They are not ameloblasts. They are before the ameloblasts. If they were ameloblasts, then we should have seen enamel in this particular region, but we do not see that. Now here you can see a further prominent basement membrane seen here, and there is some material in eosinophilic material and empty spaces. So let's have a look at this particular structure. Now to understand this structure, we have explained that there is a duct and you have a basement membrane, and the cells are present outside the basement membrane like this. Now imagine you have a long, thin basement membrane and you have the cells around it, right? Instead of this, if this whole thing folds inward, right? Then what will happen? You will have tall columnar cells in the inside and you will have tall columnar cells outside. And that's exactly what this convoluted rosette looks like. So what you are seeing here, okay? So what you are seeing here in this region is actually two layered basement membrane. One cell on the inside and one cell on the outside. Both the nucleus are away from the basement membrane. This is a kind of a convoluted double row of cells. Another common feature that you see is this kind of reticular lattice-like network. You can also see calcifications like this, and calcifications gives that appearance of snowflake-like calcifications. So how do we explain this? This can be explained by the fact that in the cap stage, you have the tall columnar cells, which are the pre-ameloblasts. They have not become ameloblast yet. And then you have the stellate reticulum-like cells in this region. And before that, you have the flattened stratum intermedium cells. This is stellate reticulum-like cells, and these are the ameloblast to be formed. So we'll call it as a pre-ameloblast cells. So when you have these kind of cells present all around and you're taking a section like this, cross section, you will find the basement membrane and you'll see these tall columnar cells and you'll see the flattened cells on the periphery. That's exactly how this looks like. So you can see that you have a basement membrane, you have tall columnar cells, and you have flattened spindle shaped cells all around there. So basically what has happened is the tumor has got arrested at the cap stage. So here this diagram is pretty representative. You can see almost all the features. You have the duct like structure here, and you will have the convoluted duct here, like you can see convoluted pattern. You have enamel droplets in this particular region. You have the connective tissue, and you have these flattened cells, that spindle shaped cells that are also present. This is a pretty good tumor, and the treatment is pretty good and easy because you just have to do a simple enucleation and it rarely recurs. But the one important thing that you should remember is there can be hybrid tumors. AOT can be associated with odontome. It can also be associated with ameloblastoma. It can be associated calcifying odontogenic cyst. So these all are originating from the same dental lamina. Hence, all can be originating in the same tumor. You can have all these features. So please go back to your app and start looking at the various notes, the MCQs that are present. So here is a simple question that you can see. Tumor cell arrangement seen in histopathology of an odontogenic tumor. So here you can see this picture and you have to name all the features that are present. So you have rosette, you have convolution, you have the droplets. Okay, so it will give you a quick ready reckoner of what and all is available. Let's look at the second question. A unilocular radiolucency. Yes, extending beyond the CJ, very important, because when you have a tooth and it is attached to the cement enamel junction, it is more likely to be a dentigerous cyst. In a 14-year-old, very good, because in the second and third decade makes it the 2/3 tumor, and snowflake-like appearance because of the presence of calcifications. So all of this points towards the element called as Adenomatoid Odontogenic Tumor. So happy learning, keep looking at the mind maps, have a ready reckoner ready with you. Until next time, see you. Bye-bye.